Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. And we're taking a look here today at AVAX, which is Avalanche. I've covered this, I think, roughly a week ago, but it's like 2 or 3x since I did so. And I want to thank you to my community members for asking that I cover this. I really do appreciate my patrons and, of course, all of my Telegram group folks there. Appreciate you nonetheless. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should always do your own research. But my goal as a trader, I've been trading for over 15 years now, or close to rather, is to just make sure that you're more of an effective, better trader, right? So you can trade for a lifetime instead of just for one day. So I always try to educate on best practice and help you understand, how to become just more of a well-rounded trader. Take as much as you can from everybody that you've learned from, right? So, me personally, everything you're going to learn here today, I utilize every single day in my trading, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for other traders that I learned from, right? So take what you can, learn what you can, and apply it, of course. But also note what you're going to learn here today as well. I exercise in my current trading. I have about an 80% success rate. I share all of my trades to my community members. So if you like what you see here, feel free to reference that as well through my Patreon account. And we can just go ahead and meet up there later. Of course, love to get to know you a bit better. Without further ado, though, why don't we just go ahead and jump right into the charts? Let's take a look here. All right, folks, go and take a look here at AVAX, of course, which is Avalanche. And just before we do, we look at Bitcoin, Ethereum first, get a baseline of the market so I know exactly what's going on. Get a quick understanding of what we're looking at there with just kind of a brief overview. Don't have to dive deep into it, but any good trader should know what's happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum, because obviously Bitcoin is the largest coin in the industry. It controls the market for the most part. And Ethereum also, most coins are, a lot of coins, of course, are on the ERC20 blockchain. So just something to note. Oh, and take a look at this here. Nice 1 minute chart there for Bitcoin. Bears are in control here today, that's for sure. Just to preface, I use TradingView.com desktop application, and the whole point of utilizing this is just because it's one of the best charting tools available. So I recommend using the paid version. Link in the description below for a free month to kind of see if you like it or not, because it's really nice and helpful to have more than 2 indicators present at any given time. Because I use usually 2 to 4 indicators per time frame, and I have about 4 of my favorite time frames that I use every single time I analyze the charts. Okay, so just keep that in mind. That's something you want to understand and look at and maybe consider. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. First of all, I've got quite a lot going on here, but just to clarify, we have an ascending wedge pattern. Let me make it a little easier here, where you can see ascending wedge pattern, or sorry, not a wedge, it's an ascending channel. Basically, it's a bullish channel here, and Bitcoin's been pretty consistent with keeping it there. So there's a strong chance the price does break below here, which is all good. The price should continue to progress sideways and up, and it should stay above the 50. And let's take a look here. 50 days simple moving average hasn't been tested yet, but it's likely soon to. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We got 50 coming up here as well. And why don't we go ahead and just talk about some quick support and resistance levels. 50,000 is a major resistance level. It's still a resistance based on the fact that we lost that earlier. The 1-day chart closed below. So technically the 1-day chart is the most important thing to look at when candlesticks are closing above and beyond for support and resistance levels. So 50,000 is not a support. It's considered a resistance level still. Same could be said here with 48,000. There's a strong chance it's going to become a resistance here as well, because it looks like there is a strong, basically a long squeeze here happening, because a lot of people had positions set up at about 47,800, and it does look like that just got dropped out pretty hard. Yeah, so we're seeing some significant bearish momentum here right now, but I do feel like that will still reverse and we'll see a turnaround here soon. It shouldn't go much lower based on the simple fact that we have some pretty strong, a lot of support levels here in the vicinity, so to speak. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But that is kind of what's going on here for Bitcoin. Not good, not bad. It kind of is what it is. I was expecting a sell-off and a rejection after 50,000, and that's exactly what's happening. We'll see how the 50-day simple moving average reacts here soon. Okay. Moving on to Ethereum, effectively the same exact thing. The 50-day simple moving average is getting tested right now as we speak, so there's a strong chance that it could close below there because we've only got 10 minutes left in this trading cycle, this trading time frame here. But generally speaking, the 50 has been working as a pretty strong support level for Ethereum here recently. We do also have a major resistance at about 3250 and a support at 2900. 2900 is a very strong support. Go ahead and extend that out a little bit further. And it has worked as a strong resistance previously, but it is now considered a support. So all in all, Ethereum's still looking good as well. I don't think we should worry too much about this recent sell-off here. Yes, it was a red day, but those happen, of course, based on the fact that everything's been increasing so significant. Now let's take a look at AVAX here. First of all, one-day chart. Now I covered this, what is it, about a week ago, I believe it was, and it was only down here. It was one of its first momentous pushes up to about $28, testing the resistance about 28. Obviously, it's done some things here. Wow, it's really taken off, all things considered. And as we can see, the previous all-time high is about $60 as a round number, $60.25, and we got to about what, $58.85, round number $59 here today. That probably would have broken the previous all-time high if it wasn't for this wonderful candlestick from Bitcoin, right? So what is that? That's considered how much? What? Yeah, we're down about 4% overall, 4.5% from Bitcoin today. So it's no wonder why this candlestick didn't shoot up much further. It probably would have continued. Not to say it won't still continue, of course, because based on previous momentum here, there's a strong chance that AVAX could push through to exceed its previous all-time high. Now, looking at the one-day chart, just to note, we're obviously up over support levels here, 50 and the 200. Obviously, the support level I drew before is working there as well, but we're not going to worry about that, of course. I would venture to guess right here at about 43.75 is a pretty strong support level based on the fact that was previous resistance as well as recent high. So let's just go ahead and mark that. So we're looking pretty good there. We'll see if we can identify any more support and resistance levels if we get a little smaller, shorter on the time frames. But generally speaking, right there, that's what we're looking at. Oh, another thing that's interesting here too, and again, we got 7 minutes left in this trading cycle here. But if we look at this right here, we're probably going to be seeing this close right at that point. So $55 is approximately the place in which we should see the price close here, should be the new resistance level, based on the simple fact that that was a resistance for its most recent all-time high back in February. Okay, so let's take a look here. So moving on to the 4-hour chart, we'll take a look here, of course. With the 4-hour chart, first of all, just note RSI is up over 70 previously, but it dropped down below. But we're in between 50 and 70 right now. So that's considered to be kind of a support channel here. In other words, we do have the opportunity to be able to expect more growth and for the price to stay above 50 on the RSI. Even if the price does go sideways for a little bit longer, we'll likely see this stay above 50. That's when you can kind of see basically a bullish trend where you see this price ever since August 4th has pretty much always stayed above 50 on the RSI. Just something to kind of note. Also note we do have a convergence, a massive convergence that just happened. Actually, pretty much right now. It's basically converging, but the problem is that Bitcoin is effectively bearish divergence right now. So for lack of better terms, this little push right here, this growth that should be kind of shooting through its all-time high, is getting stunted out by Bitcoin. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So we do have a convergence right now occurring, so to speak. There's a chance it could continue upwards, but there's a decent chance as well that $55 will be a new resistance level, because here in about 6 minutes, we will see that candlestick close. And if it closes below, then there's a chance that it's going to work as a resistance level, because remember, the previous all-time high for the one-day candlesticks closing is $55. We're at like $50.30, $55.30. So we're really close to that average. So it's pretty safe to say that we're going to see that as the resistance. Besides that, we've already identified that. Let's go ahead and take a look here actually at the 1-hour chart for AVAX. I'm just going to go ahead and remove this previous support level. That's not necessary. What we're looking at here is we're going to just take a quick look at the cloud. And no surprise there, we've been up over the cloud for some time. And if you're new to the channel, the Ichimoku cloud is one of the better indicators you can utilize concurrent with the MACD on the 4-hour chart. And what it basically does is it tells us basically when the price is above the cloud, it's considered a buy signal. When it's below the cloud, it's considered a sell signal. When it's within, you're technically not supposed to, it's advised not to take entry because it's still kind of figuring out if it's bullish or bearish. But it's effectively a similar concept to the 12 and the 26 intersecting, converging on the MACD or diverging as a bearish transition. So it basically just telling us that there's a shift in momentum from bearish to bullish sentiment. Try not to worry about the color too, because it'll shift between red and green sometimes. But the simple bottom line is that Ichimoku Cloud is very beneficial. I recommend you use it. And just note, if you do end up using it, and you see here, there's 5 indicators that are commonly present when you first turn it on. It looks really funky. just turn those off to make it really simple, based on the simple fact that these things are helpful in their own way, but if you're not educated on how that works, just use the cloud as kind of a simple rule of thumb. It's like, I would say 80% of what you need to disseminate from the Ishimoku is the cloud itself. Okay. Keep it simple. Again, you don't want to have 15 different indicators on your chart. You see some people on YouTube right now, they're just throwing every single possible indicator out there and, totally wowing you with all this stuff. You don't need all that. Honestly, there are some things that are beneficial. Certain time frames have their own, perks and their own, purpose, so to speak. But me, I just use the simple moving averages on the 4-hour and the 1-day chart. On the 1-hour chart, I use Ishimoku Cloud and TD Sequential. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and take a look at that. TD Sequential is essentially a really good tool to help us understand, market exhaustion. So what it does, it takes the current candlestick, and if it's above the 4th previous candlestick, then it's considered to be counting upwards. It still continues to count upwards, and which is essentially signaling bullish momentum, bullish trend. And then the inverse applies too for the downside. But right now, since this recent pump, we got the convergence on the MACD, so to speak, that just happened. And this little bull run started as 1 right here, because they're going to reset, count up to 6. And right now, we're at a 6. So hypothetically, this bull run, if it continues, we'll see 3 more hours worth of continuation before it decides to retrace. Again, this is hypothetical in the sense that it never always works out that way. It's not perfect. But if you look back here to say, for example, at one of the previous ones, we see 1 through 9, right? And then it keeps counting sideways because this 4th candlestick was higher than this one. Therefore, it's highlighted neon and essentially just showing that this is an extra, overtime, so to speak. So we've got about, 8 hours overtime in a bullish trend right here before it decides to retrace and come back down. Look at that, there's a 9, it resets, and it goes sideways for a little while. Now these things are all helpful, of course, all well and good. Anytime you have a consolidation period, you're going to notice that there's going to be a lot of resets. But what you want to kind of pay attention to is on the 1-hour chart, if it's counting from 1 to a 9, hypothetically right around 9, you're going to start seeing some exhaustion. And the bulls and or bears, depending on the direction, they're getting, they're starting to get a little more I guess just exhausted is the best way to describe it, right? They're starting to lose that momentum, and it could very well reverse on you. So that being said, that's kind of what we're looking at here. This candlestick we're seeing right now is likely just because of Bitcoin. If we go over here to Bitcoin, this strong bearish candlestick that dropped us down to our support level at 47,600. Actually, that was past support. And we're going to see that reflected here as well, right? It's kind of only natural. That's why we always look at Bitcoin first to understand what's going on. If we don't know if Bitcoin's selling off, how are we going to predict and try to anticipate this bouncing off its support level of $55, right? Okay, so that's kind of just what we're looking at there. So moving forward, let's go ahead and take a look at the 15 and just quickly take a peek at the EMA and VWAP, see if we're overextended at all. And if we look at here, EMA and VWAP, yes, we are. We're up over the EMA and the VWAP, but the price is coming down to test it. So simply put, in a bullish trend, you're going to see the price remain above this red line. That's the EMA line. I chose red as a color just because it's easy to distinguish. You might see it be a different color, but I use the EMA 15. The 9 and the 20 are default. You'll see that commonly in a lot of indicators. I prefer the 15 because it just works a lot more effectively. Right now, the VWAP, we're probably going to see it reset here in just a moment. That's this blue line here. And this is basically a consistent support and resistance level, but at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which should occur here any second, it'll come up and it'll connect. There we go. Just based on the simple fact of the matter that it resets every single day at 5 p.m. Pacific. So whatever time that is for you, you can kind of add or remove the hours essentially. But generally speaking, the reason why it does that is because traditional trading hours, you've got pre-market from 2:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And then you got traditional trading hours from 6:30 to 1 p.m. Pacific. And then, of course, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. is post-market hours. That's when it resets. And the reason why I'm mentioning this, though, is because it gives us a standard deviation line. In other words, the deviation between that line and the price action, if it gets too far away, then it's likely to come back down and retrace. So if we take a look at this here, that was a deviation of about 16% at its highest point. So basically the volume of the last 24 hours is telling us the price should be right at about $51, whereas the price was at this time upwards of about $59. So that deviation of over 10% causes the price to come back down. Okay, that's the beautiful thing about VWAP. It has standard deviation lines. I have those disabled here because I'd like to keep it simple for you. But generally speaking, when you see the price really far away from VWAP, it's kind of like this magnetism. It has to come back down, right? So that being said, at this point in time, price is a bit on the overextended side. It makes sense it's retracing. Bitcoin was selling off here recently. It's starting to recover, looks like a little bit. And that being said, with it being, with it kind of recovering essentially, we're starting to see, AVAX stay above. So good news is, if I'm not mistaken here, we should have closed. Yep, we did close above the previous all-time high of, what is it, $55? Yeah, I'm rounding up. It's like 55.75, somewhere in there. But we can just basically say, or sorry, 54.75. We can basically say that's $55. And now it's moving up higher. So the great thing about this is now this level of approximately $55 is essentially now a support level. Okay, why don't we just make it 55 even? All right. So that's considered a support level. Therefore, moving forward, the price does come back down. It could very well bounce off this, and this could work as a consistent support. But if we do lose support of $55, bear in mind the next closest would be roughly about $44. So if you are in the profit, you're in the green, so to speak, I highly recommend moving your stop loss up at least to $45. Just kind of keep it safe, protect your investment. And then, if you really want to play it tight, put your stop loss just below 55, somewhere around 52, 53, in case the price comes down below. Yes, you'll get stopped out. You'll miss out on any future momentum, but you'll still take profits again. Because I have a lot of people that are in the 19 to 20 range. A lot of my patrons, a lot of my subscribers are saying, hey, I'm in the green. Should I take profit? Should I not? And ultimately, it's up to you. What is your risk tolerance? What are you willing to risk? A lot of times coins will hit their all-time high and just reverse. We don't know yet because this candlestick just started, but it does look like it has enough momentum to want to continue to push. And again, we've already identified in the 1 hour chart that we've only hit a 7. It was previously a 6, now it's a 7 now that we rolled over to 5 p.m. Therefore, we have approximately 2 hours plus of bullish momentum here. So just keep in mind, likely when previous all-time highs are broken, there's either two things that happens. There's either short squeeze, where it squeezes the price up and it jumps up like it might have done already, or the price will kind of continue to test this level and it'll see if they can drive the price back down, the bears. And then if it continues to reject, just say that we continue to get some sideways action here for another 5 or 6 hours, then there's a strong chance that the price will ramp back up again. Okay, because it's trying to break that support level and it can't, and it'll have to reject and continue up to allow the bulls to essentially take control. But all in all, there's a lot of bullish momentum here. I think AVAX is still a very good coin. Again, I haven't done any research on the fundamentals. You definitely should do that yourself. I only research fundamentals on coins that I invest in personally. I'm more of a top 100 coin kind of guy, but if you're looking at this, I know this is one of the top 100 as well. I should probably do my own research in that sense and perhaps consider investing. But from what I can see here, there's a lot of good signs that this will continue to increase in value. Just make sure, regardless, because we never truly know when all-time highs are broken. Yes, it's kind of an open ceiling, so to speak, but it's almost more concerning for me. Like, I love what ADA is doing right now, for example, but you never truly know how much higher it's going to go. So what you do in that situation is you continuously move up your stop loss to ensure to protect yourself. Heaven forbid it comes down and you get stopped out. You can still always get back in when it reaches the next support level. So right now, like if I was in a position right now, I'd set my stop limit at about $53. The price comes down and stops me out. I'm probably 2 or 3x at that point. And then of course, what I do is wait to see if the price, how the price responds to $55. If it keeps bouncing off that and it's a new resistance level, then I would set my targets on the next major support level somewhere in the range of about $44. Okay, just consider that, right? Be careful, be safe, and it's really important for you to take profits when you can. I know it sucks when you take profits early and you miss out on a lot of gains, but it's a lot worse to be in the positive and eventually just be so greedy that you hold until it's in the red and you don't get any money, you actually lose money. That's way worse. So I promise you, in the years of all my trading, it feels better to miss opportunities than it does to have an opportunity and have it removed from you, if that makes sense. So hopefully you found benefit here. Everything you just learned today, I do and I utilize every single day in my own trading style. And I provide all my trading with my community members. So check that out in your own time. Of course, it's for my premium Patreon account, but I can definitely recommend checking that out on the first. You get the biggest benefit that way. And if you're interested in sharing all of my trades, I provide profit targets, entry targets, sell targets, and essentially best practice. We look at day trading, swing trading, hodl trading, and just make sure that we all kind of follow along. It's been a really good community, and I can't thank you enough for my current subscribers. So thank you again for recommending that I cover this, but also believing in me. And we're already close to 50 members in just 2 months alone. That's quite significant considering I just started this channel 4 months ago and we're already at 11,000 plus. So really good stuff. I can't thank you all enough. Really appreciate you. Looking forward to the future here with you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.